trying to figure out why. I went and took some more supplements because now I'm starting to get stressed out because now I can't stand technology wasting my time. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And it's more, able to bloom in our day because we're tired now, because we didn't go to sleep on time, because we got caught up in technology wasting our day. And we've got to be careful. Like, what are you doing in your life choices that are going to impact how your body manages the stress, the anxiety, and the overwhelm? Because too often, whenever I build a health program for somebody, they tell me the stress is the same, Dr. Chapa. Like, I'm still under the same deadlines. I'm still under the same challenges, but I seem like I'm handling it better. What's going on? Like, how's that possible? I said, because your body, when we feed it biochemically more, you have more margin, you have more bandwidth. And so I think there's, good things to consider when we look at biochemical modulation. Like, how are you going to turn on your pituitary gland, your thyroid gland, your adrenal glands, where our foot is on the rock, our anchor is set, and we are not blown and tossed by the world around us. We're able to navigate it, with our little rudders and our little rudder in our mouth, our little rudder in our brain. And our ability to do that, I think, comes through some of our choices in how we are preparing our day. How do you start your day? How do you end your day? And so I start my day with with Thanksgiving and water and salt, and a yeast reducing protocol, a walk with my dogs, a listen to the audio Bible. Then I come back and I typically, get my to do, and it's like I know I've invested into myself. There's some value in investing into my physical fitness. And then I come home from the gym and I go to the breakfast mound, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to eat for breakfast this morning? And lately I've been on a vegetable kick. Really, since detox, I've pretty much maintained a vegetable-only diet, minus a few days out of the week where I put some animal proteins in. And I'm now, 60 some odd days into that, I'm starting to allow a little bit more, animal proteins to come back in. But it's been very enjoyable learning to see what my body's capable of literally on vegetables alone. And I'm, eating about 3,200 calories of vegetables a day, and it's a lot. It's like a job to eat, but it is a little bit, when you're going to run at a pace of a NASCAR event around a track, you're going to have to fuel right. You're going to have to get in for pit stops. So, I make sure that I eat those meals. Those are very discouraging, uncomfortable places, and it has happened to me. But if I can begin to, have what I would call preparation in place so that I'm less likely to be triggered, I can teach that to other people. And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, that's what we're teaching. We're teaching people how to use the tools, the choices, the lifestyles in order to navigate their day every day, in every moment of every day. Because we are all faced with a plan, and then the plans get changed, and no one really likes change, and that's our stress cue. And that stress cue runs a pattern. This happens to me all the time. And then, your body's going down physiologically into that stress state where you feel that the wrong adrenaline rush coming up. And it's like the overwhelm. So how do we keep that overwhelm down? I use a few products. Right out the gate is adaptocrine. Adaptocrine is an herbal blend of ashwagandha, of ginseng, holy basil, rhodiola, eleuthero, and some plant enzymes. This is one of my very favorite herbal blends that I've ever used in practice. I mix this with essential fatty acids, omega-4s, which is brain food and hormone balancing and cellular repair. So whenever I use the omega-4s, I look at it like a way to touch every tissue, cell, organ, gland in the body, and to lubricate the outer membrane of the cell to protect it so that what's inside my cells can function like God created them to function, and that they communicate a message upstream to the brain and downstream to neighboring cells to let everybody know that we've got a job to do today. We got to take care of the vessel, the organism. And so between the adaptocrine and the fish oil, you can essentially affect how your body manages stress. Now, some people say, how much of that can I take? And they might have to take a lot, depending on where they're at on their stress scale. So like the adaptocrine is something that I have patients take hourly at times when their stress is really, all my accountants right now, that I have them take it hour to every 3 hours because they're stressed. They're going into the deadline season. No, they've actually already been in the deadline season, and but as they get closer and closer and closer to the 15th tax day, of April, they take a lot of laborious stress because everybody wants their taxes done yesterday, but they didn't get it in time to them, and so that puts a stress on these guys. So this would be an example of, if you are an accountant stressed out because of the deadlines that are on you from either your boss, your clients, adaptocrine is your home run. Nicely grabbed there. That was perfect. But we don't want to forget the importance of the neighboring fish oil, the omega force in this case, because we got to make sure that the cells don't overheat. This is like a radiator fluid. It keeps everything cool. And then for me, I'm reaching over to this little beauty. This is called Simplex M. Simplex M is basically food for the pituitary, thyroid, adrenals, and the testes in a male. If it was Simplex F, it would be for the female. And so the Simplex M is one of my favorite glandular upregulators. So like, what does it mean to upregulate a glandular system? So everybody's heard of your thyroid. That's your diesel engine, right? That helps metabolize your energy pathways. Being the diesel engine, it's how you burn body fat. It's how you get in a level of energy to your feet to keep up with your running and gunning. The thyroid is involved in so many functions of the body. And without the thyroid, it makes it very difficult to be metabolically active. So you don't age as graceful as you potentially could. And so we want to make sure that with the thyroid needs that are out there, that we have a way of feeding into that system for people that don't have healthy thyroid function. And so if this was one of the very first products, Simplex M and F, that I ever saw in play in a seminar. And my mentor shared with us that the Simplex M, if you chew it, have you ever chewed this stuff? It's very salty.
I would have only chewed it if you handed it to me and told me to chew it.
Let's chew some.
Some of this, Simplex M? Okay.
And so, you're going to make me go first. So
I need to see that it's safe.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to get two, and we're going to chew it up.
Woo.
It's very salty,
okay.
But this is literally like food for our glandular system. And what I suspect we should notice in the next few minutes is like our body gets a little bit warmer.
Okay.
The room should get a little bit brighter. It's kind of crunchy, so I'm thinking about drinking something, but no, I just want the effect of the Simplex.
Okay.
And I just wanted to feel what I noticed in the next 10 minutes. Which is in and of itself a stressor. It's a level of anxiety that people deal with because they're having to drag themselves through the day, right? And, I mean, nobody really wants to drag themselves through the day. They just want to enjoy the day. But when it doesn't seem to be enjoyable, they don't get the full effect of how a day should play out. Anxiety rises up because of overwhelm, because of the stress, because of the desire to have more energy. And Simplex is one of those products that I literally watched inside of 15 minutes, the crystal clear feeling in my head. I felt like my eyes were able to, take in information more effectively. So like when the teacher's, blasting you with, tons and tons of information, it seemed like the information came to me slower, more organized, and I could follow the train of thought and the logic more effectively. And I said to myself, wow, am I noticing that? I mean, like that's interesting. How's that possible? You know, the power of food. So the biochemistry of your body needs nourishment, right? It needs fuel. And we're not feeding our glandular system effectively. I mean, who out there is really eating pituitary? Who's out there eating thyroid? Maybe the Liver King, you know? I don't know.
That's it.
And but the rest of us aren't. You know, we're relying on processed food to get us through our day. We're relying on sugar to get us through our day. We're relying on caffeine to get us through our day. We're relying on some sort of sugary drink to get us through our day. We're relying on some sort of inflammation driver. We don't realize, you know, that we go towards foods that are comfort foods, but they're really driving inflammation. The inflammation is a driver to kind of punch our adrenal system and our stress response, and we get a adrenaline rush from it. And so Simplex was one of these products that I've always used. My mentor said, if you're a parent, you need to be on this. If you're a business owner, you need to be on this. If you have deadlines coming up, you need to be on this. And it will help to manage how your body feels throughout a week, a month, a year. And if you want to be good in business and you want to see your business thrive, you need to have a strong glandular axis. He always would make this case that in the presence of a weak hormonal axis, your ability to manage stress goes down. And when your ability to handle stress goes down, you're not effective. You're not creative. You're not as abundant as you could be. Mm-hmm. Well, let's see if we can fix that, and we can feed into the system. So if these are the only 3 products that I took over the course of my day, adaptogen to manage stress, the essential fatty acids from the omega-4s to help my cells function like they're supposed to, the Simplex M in order to stimulate the entire glandular axis from the pituitary down through the thyroid, down to the adrenal glands, down into the gonadal system of the pelvic organ or glandular system. I want to be most robust. This little cocktail of support could help. And then it allows you, when presented with a stressor, that your body can manage that stress more effectively. And it never turns into overwhelm. It never turns into anxiety, and it never turns into panic. Doesn't that sound good? Because when we're talking about mental health, we can't make good decisions when we're running from a grizzly bear. It's just turn left, turn right, outrun the guy to the next to me, run as hard as you can, don't stop. Can I keep going? You can't stop and help and serve because you got your own demons to fight, your own race to win, your own, survival tactic to overcome. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when we're survival, we're in the fight or flight response, that takes a massive toll on our overall health and well-being. It affects the way our immune system works. It affects the way our digestive system works. So like some people, when faced with a major stressful event, they have bowel and bladder trouble. They call it irritable bowel syndrome or a leaky bladder, right? And that could be all a sign or a symptom that stress is hitting that pinnacle point that is going to break you down. And the stress could be anything. It could be a test on Friday. It could be a talk, a meeting that you have to lead. It could be anything outside of your comfort zone. It could be as simple, I've seen some people that are so far down the stress rabbit hole, going to the grocery store. Making a decision, is a stressful thing. And these are the people that are like, they've tilted the scale the wrong way. I mean, their stress burden is so high, their nutritional burden is so low that they're not going to be able to function in managing how information comes at them throughout the day. And so in order to slow that down, we have to feed into this glandular system. So my question to you is, do you notice anything? It's been, I don't know, 5-6 minutes. Do you notice anything chewing up the Simplex?
Initially, the first thing I noticed was the sunflower seeds, which I hadn't had sunflower seeds in a long time, and so I still kind of taste it.
Thinking you're on the baseball field chewing up sunflower seeds?
That's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yes. So it's a nostalgic moment for you.
It was, yeah. Freshman year, I didn't play much, and so I was in the dugout just
chewing on some seeds,
mastering my seeds in a cup that was lodged in the fence.
That's funny. I
got really good.
almost called you on that and said, so, remember when you're in the dugout and just chewing seeds because you're not playing ball?
Cheering on the real players.
That's not what we want. That's not what we want. We want to cheer on our teammates, but we want to contribute.
Exactly.
But okay. So you got a nostalgic moment that was just more from the taste.
Yes.
Do you notice any physiological things? Is the room brighter? Did you get hot?
I did get a little warmer.
Okay.
I'll notice that. And then since you have mentioned the lights, I mean, we have lights coming from every angle in here, but they do seem a little bit brighter, and I feel more warm in my neck and in my back right here.
I feel a ton of, I would say even a little bit of tension on the cortical left side of my brain, like where I feel like it's just tight, and it just got tight. So what that is that you're feeling is blood flow moving. Okay, remember we chewed it. Right. And I don't recommend chewing this to patients, right? Just for the effect of what we're trying to do here on the show and talk through how quickly nutrition works. When you chew any of these things, you get a faster impact because you're doing some digesting right in the mouth. It's getting absorbed right into your cheeks, into your the sublingual aspects of where your arteries and whatnot are under your tongue. And this is the sensory impact. Your taste buds are so sensitive. They know what's in this. They know what's coming. So they will create a trigger response that will begin to release a domino effect of change in an instant when you chew stuff. So chewing, that's why chewing 20 to 30 times your food is valuable. Now, myself included, eating as much as I eat, I swallow a lot. I don't chew enough, but I do try and chew my food up really well. But because we're chewing this glandular product, it went straight to our head and neck, which is why we feel a little bit warmer, and the room seems abnormally brighter than normal, which is great. I mean, that's a sensory change, biochemical change that is a sign that our brain is getting more blood flow. And the tension I feel is just acclimation. So my brain is acclimating to an enhanced amount of blood volume coming through the brain arteries. So I'm getting nutrients to my head, and my head is figuring out what to do with all this great nutrition. It's like, oh wow, I didn't realize I was hungry.
Yes.
And the brain's turning on.
So I wanted to ask. Okay, chewing it, and you mentioned something about under the tongue. And from Natural Living, I got some CBD before. I've gone through a couple bottles, but on the instructions, that's what it says to let it. If you take it orally, put it underneath your tongue and hold it there for like 30 seconds or something, and then swallow or whatever. Right. So what is it again about under your tongue that in your mouth that lets it absorb?
So there's quite a few factors. Your taste buds. Obviously, you have your palate, right? You've got your salt, you've got your sour, you've got your bitter, you got your sweet palate, your savory palate. And, just your taste buds alone have the ability to take in information very quickly and let the rest of the body know what is coming, right? So under your tongue, when we look at sublingual delivery systems, it's a fast delivery system. The cheeks, very vascularly rich, take in nutrients. They uptake nutrients fast. So when we're chewing our food, or in this case, we're even sucking on a sublingual tablet, it's literally going right into those high entry points, access points, so that we can get faster upregulation. Upregulation meaning stimulation. Stimulation meaning function or activation. We want to create a quick change. We chew it. We suck on the sublingual in order to keep a steady flow of whatever substance we're bringing in to the bloodstream effectively. So it's a more effective way, a faster, more effective way to get the body to recognize that it's got tools in its tool bag. And so when you're chewing up any product, it helps, the delivery of, that's why, again, chewing is so important, the delivery of good nutrients. And so we're just going to notice, that's why I think notice the neurological effects of chewing Simplex M this morning, because it's going straight to our brain. We're increasing pituitary function. Pituitary function helps the thyroid function better. The thyroid functioning better helps our adrenals manage stress better. The adrenals functioning better and managing stress better allow our sex organs to fire off better, and we feel more, manly in our case. We feel like robust and in control, and we can lead, and we can charge, and we can go forth and do our duties for the day. And so we always look to just a simple, regime. And the more and more I meet with folks, I find that people are stressed out, and their anxiety overwhelm meter is tipping the wrong way. And this little triad will help calm the system down. Then I come in with actual fuel for my adrenal glands, and for my immune system, and for my vascular system, vitamin C. So, this is Cataplex C. This has got the full complex C. People go, oh, yeah, I take 2,500 milligrams a day of vitamin C. But they don't realize that 500 milligrams of vitamin C a day could cause unraveling of DNA. It can mess up stuff. It can cause your valves in your intestines to go malfunction, and you get loose, watery, too fast stool. We don't like that. It can cause problems and create deficiencies where over time, if you overdose high levels of ascorbic acid, which is what most people are taking when they take 500 plus milligrams of vitamin C every day, we've been duped and sold that this is a wellness vitamin, but it's really an acute sick care vitamin when you take ascorbic acid. What this stuff is, it's a little different. It saturates into the tissues, and not saturates, it circulates around our blood, and we have to forge vitamin C. We have to go find vitamin C. And what is vitamin C? Vitamin C is going to be, number one, a fuel source for your adrenal glands. It's going to be a immune fuel to help your immune system fight off bugs and bad organisms and out of control rogue agents that come at us day in and day out. The vitamin C is going to empower your blood vascular system to be strong, your arteries to be strong, to carry nutrients from point A on the roadways to point B. Nobody likes driving on a pothole type road.
Right.
Well, if your arteries have potholes in it, that isn't good. That's your high cholesterol patients, your cardiovascular risk patients, your inflammatory responses are higher. Vitamin C can help that, right? But we've got to get enough of it circulating around in the body. But the vitamin C complex, what I'm using here, is all food. So when you look at that product, you're going to see there's vitamin C in the adrenal glands. So there's adrenal extracts in there. There's going to be different foods in there, like buckwheat. Who would have thunk, that vitamin C is found in buckwheat? And buckwheat, by the way, is not wheat. It's kind of like a grass, and so the vitamin C complex is made up of ascorbic acid. It's made up of tyrosinase, an enzyme that activates the complex to function better. It's going to have vitamins P, K, and J, which people go, I've never heard of vitamin P, And vitamin P is the blood vascular component, and it helps if you bruise easily, for example. That's a sign of modern day scurvy. And when you have modern day scurvy, you have you bruise easily. Your arteries aren't moving nutrients down the nutritional line, the cellular line, like they're supposed to. And so the vitamin C is one of these health. The P factor helps to allow nutrient delivery, And so that's a really cool thing. Vitamins K and J are clotting factors, so in other aspects of the way blood vascular nutrient delivery work. And this has flavonoids and bioflavonoids and cofactors. And of course, it has the ascorbic acid. So if you just take ascorbic acid by itself, 500, 1,000, 1,500 milligrams of these vitamin C things that we buy from the store, we wind up creating a nutritional deficiency. Well, vitamin C, one of the complex, when you have the full complex intact, one of its number one sites for delivery is to the adrenal glands. And it's the adrenal gland's number one fuel source. But we have to forge it. We have to go get it. And so if you're stressed out and you're now anxious or dealing with panic, the vitamin C that you aren't getting the full complex of because you're taking the wrong C or you're not taking any C, now your adrenal glands are running on fumes. That is not good. And so we want to make sure that we have the complex saturation and circulating C levels at an adequate dose so that your immune system is more readily able to fight the curveball of organisms that we're getting exposed to when people sneeze, hack, cough around us, or heaven forbid you drink after somebody that's been sick, right? And vitamin C helps you kind of like navigate the elements. It also feeds your stress response. It increases your bandwidth. We want your bandwidth to be more capable of taking on more. Not that you should take on more, but we just want to make sure that you're able to take on more if you're in a place where you need. And then we look at the vitamin C's role in digestive function. You know, it helps to stimulate these little the cell's secretory IgA molecules that help upregulate your barrier system. It protects you from the outside world. So when you take in a food, so if we eat, let's keep it healthy, some eggs, and those amino acids are broken down and they're digested accordingly in the stomach because you chewed it right in your mouth, and then you're able to absorb it in the small intestine as a micronutrient, something that your body can use. That something that your body can use is brought across the cell membrane of your intestinal tract into the bloodstream and then transported to the cells for function, for assimilation of necessary nutrients. The digestive system, if it is poor, because cortisol is too high, because your stress load is too high, and you have now leaking happening in the gut lining or just irritations in the gut lining, your ability to bring those nutrients across effectively is brought over as a foreign agent, not as something that your body can use. So anything that your body cannot use, if it's foreign because it's not been digested well in the stomach, because you didn't chew it well in the mouth, because the stomach acids are too high, or because the small intestine are irritable and you have that IBS type symptom patterns, then these foreign bodies that cross over into the blood now are stressors to your body. So now you're creating biochemical stress in the blood. Well, how do you think that's going to affect your brain chemistry? That's obviously not going to come across well, because anything that crosses over your digestive lining that's a foreign body can also potentially cross over into the brain via the blood-brain barrier, because typically they're mirror images. If you've got irritation in your gut barrier, you've got irritations in the brain barrier. And now your brain is susceptible to foreign agents. We don't want foreign agents circulating around, do we?
Mm-mm.
That would create stress, inflammation, and it will cause a massive decline on your body due to the accelerated aging process. So we're looking at the overall function of our system. We've talked about how anxiety is triggered by different stressors, whatever the curveball is for you, okay? And when handled right, your margin is in place, your creative juices are flowing, everything is moving about like the cabin, so to speak, in a healthy way with no turbulence, Then all of a sudden, you get to a place, if you're on the flip side of that and you're out of balance, the stressor impacts you negatively because you used to be able to handle it, but you can't handle it anymore. Now sitting on an airplane going on a business trip begins to stress you out, and you've flown, millions of miles all over the world, and now you're starting to get anxiety in an enclosed space in the cabin of an airplane. Wow, that happens? Yeah, we see it every day. I've helped a lot of people with this stuff. Claustrophobia is a sign of adrenal fatigue. It's a sign of stress mismanagement. And so we're talking about how to turn on the brain at the pituitary, hypothalamic, and thyroid level, how your adrenal glands can be impacted just with adaptogen, fish oil, and the vitamin C. But now we've got to talk just quickly about how are we going to stimulate the robustness nature of who we are as humans. So, the females want to be the most robust version of themselves possible. Men want to be the most robust version of themselves possible. And we could use a cool product like this called Opticrine. This is a product that helps stimulate the gonadal system. This helps upregulate our sex drive, our vitality. This helps activate our robust nature, because now that we're not stressed out, because our margin is being marginalized, we're able to handle more. Not that we should, but we're able to think through what's important, what's urgent, and make the differentiation on what needs to be handled and prioritize, right? And that's a good feeling. There's a sense of control when you have the top part and the middle part of your glandular axis in check. That's the pituitary, thyroid, and the adrenals, top and middle. But this bottom part, this robust nature, this is where everybody wants to feel that vitality, that, ooh, yes, that vim, vigor, and vip, that wind in your sail, that spring in your step, right? And we come in with this product like this guy called Opticrine. Guess what? One of the number one ingredients in here, zinc. Zinc is very powerful for a healthy immune system, but for a glandular system, a vitality system, output system. What are you actually giving to the day? What can you give to your world today? You know what I mean? And so this has ginseng in it. Blood flow to the brain, blood flow to the peripheral tissues, so that now I can really feel warmth all the way down to my forearms and in my hands. I'm thinking, oh, wow, like I actually feel like my hands are hot almost. Is it because I, rapidly put in the simplex through chewing? How are your hands feeling? Are they hot yet?
Maybe a little bit. I don't generally get sweaty hands, and they are feeling a little clammy. So I guess so.
I would say you are. So you and I are actually having a very similar response, using the simplex.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly, even though I feel like this heat, radiating out of us, I also feel like my body's just kind of setting back into the chair. Like I'm like, okay, this is nice. Like I feel like very placed, very controlled, very much in a good spot to teach and to share a message on how to turn on this glandular system hormonally, getting us set up for the vitality factor. And Opticrine has then tribulus and maca root in it. And tribulus and maca root are very nice glandular support. They help the ovaries and the testes do their job better to produce adequate amounts of sex hormone throughout the day, throughout the morning, throughout the business meeting, throughout the event that you got to go to. It helps you, be better to yourself. So it's going to help when you have a more robust glandular system. You're not only, when I say sex drive, I want you to think of your vitality and your persona, like your confidence meter goes up. And this is what I notice when we have the healthy middle and upper glandular system working. Your ability to create output right here begins to impact you in a positive way, and you're going to go through your day more amazing. And so if you've got hormonal issues, if you have a cycle that is out of control, if you feel like you're having that midlife crisis moment, if you feel like something's just not right in how your body's performing day in and day out, it could be that your sex organs aren't producing the hormones necessary for you to maximize vitality. And vitality is something I want to give to my longevity. longevity meaning how long I want to live, but I don't want to get to the end and have nothing to give, right?
Right.
The giving out, that vitality is what this stuff will help us with. And so do I use a lot of herbs and things like that? A friend of mine had asked me yesterday, goes, what do you do when people want to improve their sex drive? Men want to improve their testosterone. Women want to be more hormonally stable. This is one of my favorites because of the ginseng, tribulus, and maca. And of course, I love the idea that what this company's been brilliant at is they put enzymes and stomach acids into their products to help you break down those herbs into something that you can easily absorb. Because like we talked about earlier, when the stresses are up, and if you look at the adaptocrine, if you look at the optocrine, you know that if stress is up, your digestion is altered. Therefore, you may need some extra enzymes and stomach acids to break down the food to maximize absorption because you're kind of digestively challenged when you're stressed. And that's what we're trying to teach folks. And so this is another one. We'll take 2 of these and see how we feel. You can go ahead and hit 2 of those.
Are you chewing these?
No, I'm because they're big capsules.
I was like, we chewing capsules? I didn't know. All right, so this is some optocrine.
So this will take longer for us to actually get an effect. We probably should have taken it earlier since the show is coming to a close and we're at the end of our glandular chain. But isn't it cool how we took 4 ideas and we worked from north to south in how we want to stimulate our vitality chain, how we want to give to the day vibrantly and robustly, how we want to manage the curveballs of stress that we know we have to control, and the curveballs of stress that are going to come at us out of the shadows, out of the that are going to come low towards our knees and try to sweep our feet out from underneath us. So these are great tools right here. A little quartet, the adaptocrine and the omega force, absolutely imperative in managing the way our body functions. The simplex M and or F, depending on if you're male or female, feeding the adrenal glands and improving blood flow. I guess it's 5 products sitting over there. Sorry about that. It was hiding. I forgot C was sitting there.
It's right here,
yeah. And then that vitamin C to help make sure that we're forging the necessary vitamins, the keys to the adrenal kingdom, so to speak, so that you're going through the day with stress margin in check. You're not like at your wit's end. You're not at your anxiety threshold, your panic threshold. You're not at that spot where you can't, make good, healthy decisions. Instead, you're just reacting to your day. That's what happens whenever we're stressed. We react instead of respond. That's why people fly off the handle. That's why people have anger management. That's why there's road rage. That's why people, just run their mouth and then they regret it. These are all things that can be controlled if we have tools like this in place. And then we come in with the vitality kick, the optocrine. And I just like this idea of how can we stimulate the glandular axis, making our stress anxiety meter go down. How can we make sure that the output that we have to give to the day is intact and we have something creative to give to the day? Because nobody wants to live in like the brain fog world. Nobody wants to live in the output low world. We want to be fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. And I think whenever we're biochemically sound, structurally sound, when we're emotionally sound, we're more spiritually impactful to ourselves to receive from the Lord and to others to give hope and encouragement to the world. And I think that it embodies the full, aspect of what the glandular system does. It helps us to be more spiritual. It helps us to be more robust and creative in the physical, and it allows us to be more impactful to our hope and a message of hope and positivity to those around us that we come into contact with, because everybody is going through something. And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we're trying to teach people how to be the best versions of themselves, one bite at a time. We're trying to teach them that all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition drives it all. We want your nutrition to be so good and so robust that your body has to line up the way that God created it to function, that your body has to perform at a high level of energy, longevity curve with nothing to give in the vitality department, that you actually still have insights to, helper of good information. Somebody to bounce ideas around with, somebody that's lived a little, somebody that's had some bumps, bruises, and scars, but they still have the wherewithal to share a message so that the younger generation can navigate the pitfalls. That's mentorship. At every stage of life, you have something to do. You have a call on your life to be better than you think, that you're not just washed up, And we buy into these lies, and we've got to get people to stop buying into the lie that just because you're at this particular age, you're washed up, washed out. And I want to encourage folks, no matter where you're at in the health train, if you're young, prepare your body. If you're in the middle age of life or the later middle age of life, continue to maintain and keep pushing these ideas nutritionally into the body so that you're preparing yourself to be in a place to live life to the fullest, even to the end of days. Isn't that good news?
Very good news.
And all life, guys, starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition is the fundamental backbone. At Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we want to be your number one health resource. We want to be your best advocate for coaching and developing what to do, the strategies of life to control the accelerated aging process so that you feel good every day, that you live good every day, that you look good, smell good, all those great things every day of your life. So tonight, 6:30, we have a great class for you guys on mental health, whether it's depression, anxiety, panic, tools that we're going to share, this and beyond. And this is just my personal favorite ideas, and I presented it how I would take them. So, I'm just giving people, hey, this is something you can do. What can I do? You can do something like this, modulate the biochemistry that will impact all aspects of your life. Change your inputs. Start with a word from the Lord every day. Go for a walk in the cool of the day. Start with water. Start with the salt. Increase your body's intake of nutritional goodness so that you feel well. And watch what happens in this next quarter. Watch what happens in this next year. Watch what happens in your relationships with your spouse, with your children, with your business partners. You're going to see change in every aspect of the word in the positive, and you're going to feel like you're living instead of just existing. You're going to be a human being instead of a human doing. You're going to feel alive and vibrant, and you're going to have that vim, vigor, and vip to give to others that you come into contact with every day. When the glandular system is in check, everything is better. You're a better parent, better business owner. You're a better lover. You're a better follower of good leadership. You're a learner. Teacher. Everything gets better. And it's because of the vitality that is in check, because you're not stressed out. You're not pushing, too close to the cliff, so you're not worried about slipping. And I could just go on and on and on. Hopefully, what you heard today is that the glandular axis, the pituitary thyroid, the adrenal glands, the pelvic hormonal system, when in check, when in alignment, when firing on all 8 cylinders, and it can be, will give you the life that you've always wanted. It'll give you the opportunity to feel your best and perform at your best, and to give others a piece of your overflow that you want to give, and that we should all want to give to people that we come into contact with. So, that being said, tonight, 6:30 p.m., come learn more. Come dig in. Come be a part of what Living Well is doing. We're very excited to give to you guys healthy educational resources every month so that you feel your best, live your best day in and day out. So come visit us at our office. Give us a call if you need directions, 281-554-8600. And we always want to help give you resources to live better, be better, and stay better. So visit us at justlivewell.com and come be a patient. Come be a follower in our tribe of people that are living better day in and day out. So God bless you today. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time.
This is KHEA Radio.